Big domestic story right now, viewers, is an impending move by the NDA to amend the Waqf Act of 1995, bring in amendments so that the sweeping powers of the Waqf Act are no longer as expansionist as they have been over the last few years, specifically after the P.V. Narasimha Rao Congress government brought in those amendments that gave the Waqf Act a massive remit. Now, what is under the lens, viewers? Proposal, mandatory verification of property claims by Waqf Board could be rolled back. Mandatory verification for disputed properties of Waqf Boards. Representation of women in Central Waqf Council and state boards. Scrutiny of limited appeal process as laid out in the Waqf Board. District magistrates to monitor Waqf properties to prevent misuse and assets. NDA defends the amendment also. It has come out and said that a false narrative of government planning to take away Muslim lands is being sort of perpetuated. The opposition is very against all of this, saying that this exemplifies a hatred or a bigotry towards the Muslim community. Let's put this into perspective. Let's open this up. I have with me Dr. Anand Ranganathan, also of course a AIMM. Adil Hassan Sahab is also here with us. Dr. Ranganathan, this is something that befuddles me. If India wants to be a real secular society, how can you have something like this in play, where one community has all the rights to not only look after their own places of worship, but also take over lands at a whim, while the Hindu community cannot even control its temples?
Good evening, Rahul. Look, Waqf is the parallel system of running governments, and it has to be removed, this act, if India is to be stopped from becoming an Islamic Republic of India. It is the third largest landowner in India after defense and the railways. Much of its land holding, rather amusingly actually, is pre-independence, an endowment of the insidious give and take between the British and the Muslims they desired to pacify. Indeed, many of the Waqf land holdings go as far back as 1857. 77% of Delhi is on Waqf land, including the Delhi High Court. Central Vista, which has recently been renovated and on whose hallowed turf new government buildings will shimmer and glisten, is on Waqf land. CGO Complex and Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium are on Waqf land. Only three things are certain in an Indian's life, Rahul: death, taxes, and that knowingly or unknowingly, he ends up walking every day on Waqf land. The Waqf Act, in fact, is one of 8 reasons why Hindus, I believe, are 8th-class citizens in their own country. Waqf essentially means that any donated property belongs to Allah in perpetuity. A Waqf Act decides any property adjudged by Muslim law as pious, religious, or charitable becomes Waqf. The boards are headed and constituted by Muslims. Section 28, let me run through some. Section 28 gives it power to order even a collector. Section 8 says the state has to pay for the Waqf survey. This is in direct violation of Article 27 of our Constitution that says, quote, no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, the proceeds of which are specifically appropriated in payment of expenses for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denomination, unquote. Section 40 says the Waqf Board can declare any property as Waqf property. And if it is a property that was held by a trust, the board needs to notify the registrar, who may or may not notify the trust. So you may not even know that your property has become Waqf property. Section 107 says Act 36 of 1963 Statute of Limitation will not apply for recovery of Waqf property. Section 101 says the survey commissioner, members of the board, every officer, every auditor of the board, and every other person appointed to discharge any duties imposed on him by this act shall be deemed to be public servant, as is understood by the Indian Penal Code. And you know what happens when you touch a public servant, literally or metaphorically. Section 54 gives it power to declare you an encroacher. Waqf tribunal decision can only be overturned by a long and financially draining legal process. Over time, Rahul, many of these Waqf properties were taken over by the government, but then inexplicably, as you told, or perhaps not, one of the last decisions of the outgoing UPA government in 2014 was to gift 123 prime central Delhi properties to Waqf. Look, Their status remains unchanged for 70 years until 15 March 2014 when the departing Congress decided to endow them to the Waqf. Even the Delhi High Court judges have opined that Waqf land is Allah's and Allah's alone. The whole point is what is going on here. Muslims claimed in court that Gyan Vyapi, built atop a Hindu temple, is on Waqf land. So was Kashi Vishwanath demolished by Aurangzeb also on Waqf land? Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb बोल के गंगा भी ले ली और यमुना भी. I ask you one final thing, 10 seconds. How can a 1500-year-old Hindu temple in Tamil Nadu be adjudged by Waqf to be on Islamic land when Islam is only 1300 years old? Please tell me how.
It's all very good points. And yes, Dr. Ranganathan, you remembered right that in a previous avatar I had broken that story that in February 2014, just before the Model Code of Conduct kicked in, the UPA government decided to bequeath almost 123 properties or so to the Waqf in Delhi. And viewers, that decision was communicated straight out of the cabinet committee on a telephone call, if you can believe that. And then a secret note much after went out. So it was completely clandestine. It was done for the very purpose to appease one particular section of society, and it was very clearly done. So Adil bhai, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ कि एक सेक्युलर देश में एक कम्युनिटी को इतना पावर, अनइक्वल पावर कैसे मिल सकता है? सेक्युलरिज्म मीन्स कि भैया स्टेट रिगार्ड्स एवरीवन इज इक्वल. ये अनइक्वल कैसे हो गए? यहाँ हिंदुओं को अपनी ज़मीन पे, अपनी टेम्पल्स की ज़मीन पे कब्जा करने का हक नहीं है, रन करने का हक नहीं है, और वहाँ पर किसी और को पूरी छूट है.
राहुल भाई, पहले आपके चैनल पे बोलना चाहता हूँ कि हम लोग ना इस्लामिक मुल्क चाहते हैं, ना किसी धर्म का मुल्क चाहते हैं. भारत एक संविधान के तहत सेकुलर मुल्क है, वही बहुत हम खुश है. रंगनाथ साहब को बार बार इस्लामिक इनको इतना याद आता है, पता नहीं इतना इनको मोहब्बत क्यों हो गई है पाकिस्तान बांग्लादेश से.
मगर आपके जो उस्ताद हैं AIMM के जो चीफ हैं, उन्होंने तो कहा है कि उनको ये एकदम बिल्कुल रिजेक्ट करना है ये वक्फ का. वो कहते हैं अमेंडमेंट नहीं हो सकता. ये RSS एजेंडा है. कैसा RSS एजेंडा है सर?
आप सुन लिया जाए. जितनी धैर्य से आपने रंगनाथ साहब का सुना, मेरा भी सुन लीजिए तो अच्छा रहता. पहली बात की जो हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड प्रॉपर्टी में टैक्स रिबेट है, रंगनाथ साहब से पूछेंगे वो टैक्स रिबेट को ये क्या मानते हैं.
सर ये सब मेरी बात सुनिए, ये मामला है नहीं. One second, I have to step in, viewers, because I'm running out of time in any case. No, I wanted a simple and straightforward answer. There are allowances made under the Waqf Act to one community, much beyond the remit of allowances that are given to other communities. Now, no one is saying do away with the Waqf Act, but there are certain things that need to be curbed to make it more palatable to the constitutional setup. How can anyone have a problem with that? Anyhow, viewers, we will continue this debate another time when the bill is brought, and we are being told it could happen either in this week or early next week.